You're watching KJRH TV 2, Tulsa. Live from KJRH in Tulsa, Bruce Dunbar, Beth Ringel, meteorologist Gary Shore, and sports director Jerry Weber. This is News Center 2 at 5.
Good evening. Some Tulsa restaurant owners say health department inspectors are overstepping their bounds.
And you'll watch as some area school children learn some important facts about safety. But first, our top story. An
arsonist holding a grudge set fire to a downtown Tulsa building, then cut a security guard who tried to stop him. That's according to police who responded to the fire this afternoon. They say the man has confessed to setting the fire and to stabbing the guard.
Like the one who owns this root beer stand say some of the inspections are being done in arbitrary and inconsistent ways. Sometimes inspectors are coming in and writing up violations that don't even relate to health matters. Now, restaurant owners aren't against the inspections. They want to abide by public safety. What they are against is the way they're being done.
Rick Bilby has owned a fast food restaurant in Tulsa for 9 years. For the last 2, he says he's been in a running battle with the...
All right, Kay, thank you very much for that report. The director of the health department says Tulsa has had a low incidence of food poisoning at restaurants. He says the last big outbreak was at a hotel in 1978.
Students at Tulsa's Mayo Elementary School took time out today to learn a very important lesson. News Center 2's Kim Graham says it's a lesson that could save their lives. The program is sponsored by the Get It Together Tulsa Coalition. You can find out more about the program by contacting the Tulsa Red Cross.
Coming up, the big event is just 2 days away.
But up next, we'll show you 2 athletes who will be up bright and early Saturday morning for the Tulsa Run.
It was back in '62. Corvettes were burning up the roads.
Of other runners, the best of luck on Saturday. In other health news, about 1 in every 5 adults has high blood pressure. And if you're a hypertensive, you probably control your blood pressure through medication. Well, according to doctors today at a video conference, the federal government just recently approved a drug for all hypertensives. It's called captopril, and it's supposed to cut down on the usual side effects of the medication.
Captopril has many fewer side effects and none related to the previous side effects that we had. Mostly, some patients will have a skin rash and others will have a loss of taste or a bad...
Been given to severe hypertensives for the past 3 years, but was only recently approved for mild and moderate cases by the federal government.
All right. Thank you very much, Andrea. Coming up next, rescue workers are cleaning up the second helicopter crash in a month.
And an important hostage is set free in El Salvador. The national news headlines are next.
Which would you rather have, a set of sheets for $24.95 or a...
Tonight in our 5 o'clock digest, Sam Jones tells us there's been another helicopter crash off the U.S. coast. Sam, what happened?
Well, Beth, a helicopter carrying at least 8 people crashed into an offshore drilling platform in the Gulf of Mexico, and this happened sometime this morning. Reportedly caught fire on impact, and officials on the scene say that several were critically burned. The crash occurred about 55 miles southeast of Cameron, Louisiana. So far, there's no word on any fatalities. Salvadorian rebels have reportedly released the kidnapped daughter of President Duarte. She was taken prisoner 44 days ago. The exchange plan calls for the release of 22 political prisoners and evacuation of 96 seriously wounded rebel guerrillas. The rebels are also releasing about 24 captured Salvadorian officials. President Reagan took his appeal for arms control to the UN today. On the topic of his upcoming Soviet meeting with Soviet leader Gorbachev, the president said he's proposing regional peace talks aimed at easing tension in the world. The Soviet foreign minister then took the podium and also called for an end to a superpower arms race. And Beth, that's a look at the digest at this hour.
All right, Sam, thank you very much. Bruce.
Have politicians and the media focused too much attention on the plight of blacks in South Africa? Paul Harvey thinks so and says we should all take a closer look at their situation.
Americans' headlines have kept world attention focused on South Africa, seeking to rouse public wrath over the fact that nobody will. Good day.
Project Head Start has been helping Tulsa parents for 20 years now. Mark Massesson will have a report.
And Gary Shore will have a look at our weather next.
We got the competition on the run. United States Waterbeds is leading the race with the lowest prices.
It's nice to be the bearer of good news once in a while, and we had more great weather today. How long can it last? Gary Shore says a while longer.
Right on through the weekend, Bruce, it looks like we're going to continue with these Indian summer-like temperatures. There will be a few small flies in the ointment, though. A little bit of fog at times during the morning hours. But right now in Tulsa, it's just a beautiful 81 degrees out there, 60 dew point, 49% humidity, and the winds out of the northeast at 12, barometers 3009, and it is holding steady. And taking a look at storm surge radar, it's pretty much clear. This is just ground clutter around Tulsa. Down south of McAllister, there are still some isolations during the morning, with temperatures probably going from 60 to 66 during the actual running time of the race. And also over in Turleton, they're going to be having a benefit to raise money for the school there because of the tornado damage that occurred exactly a year and a half ago this weekend. It should be a warm and kind of humid evening for this time of year. Look at those temperatures starting off about 80 at 5:30 and then dropping to around 69 at 10 o'clock. And we'll be back with the complete details at 6 o'clock on the weekend weather. It does look like it's going to stay warm, Bruce.
Oh, am I glad to hear that, Beth?
I'm not. I want it to be cool. For 20 years now, Project Head Start has been helping Tulsa parents raise their families. Head Start, as a matter of fact, is having a 20th birthday. The Head Start birthday party is scheduled for Monday evening at 7 o'clock at the Rudisill North Regional Library. Just 2 days away, Jerry, until the big event.
Too late to get in shape if you haven't started.
You bet.
And we're talking about the Tulsa Run. We continue our series on local runners, people like you and me who enjoy a workout and look forward to the annual Tulsa Run. Today, Mike Davis has produced a profile on a geologist making her second Tulsa Run.
It's a great stress reliever, and I just do it because...
The state amateur boxing tournament begins in Tulsa tomorrow evening at the Fairgrounds Pavilion. Matches begin at 7:30. This year's Oklahoma State champions advance directly to the Nationals. Game 5 of the World Series tonight in St. Louis. A look at Oklahoma's newest quarterback, a freshman with a large load. Those stories and the balance of the day's sports coming up on News Center 2 at 6.
Sounds good. See you then.
Surely.
Thanks.
Up next, you thought it was the perfect toy for your child.
But just beneath that shiny surface, there could be problems. A consumer report next.
Come to the grand opening celebration at Ross Stores on Sunday.
If a toy causes ringing in the ears or you have difficulty talking over the noise of the toy, it's probably too loud. This cap gun was among the loudest, and this ray gun could be too loud if it's held next to your child's head.
Recapping tonight's top story, a security guard at a downtown building was hospitalized today after he tried to stop a man from attempting to burn down the building. The structure located at First and Cincinnati sustained only moderate damage. The guard's assailant was taken into custody. Now it's time to go back to the newsroom for a look at News Center 2 at 6.
Sam Jones is here with an update. Sam, what are we working on?
The United States Supreme Court could soon make a decision that would force Oklahoma to retry all of its death row inmates. An area family's home is destroyed by fire, and OU has a new president. Now a preview of Nightly News.
I'm Tom Brokaw. Tonight on NBC Nightly News, we'll try to explain to you what these important speeches at the United Nations meant today. Speaking for the United States, President Reagan saying that we have to solve regional conflicts at the summit meeting between President Reagan and Gorbachev, and the Soviet Foreign Minister Shevardnadze saying, yes, indeed, there does seem to be time now to take a look at these wars around the world in Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Angola, and other places. Also tonight, we'll take a look at the search for a new symbol for France. Would you believe it? Brigitte Bardot is just too old. These stories and more news tonight on NBC Nightly News.
It's a little hard to believe. We'll also have a look at the latest phone book cover, what to expect. Bruce, that's what's coming up on News Center 2 at 6.
What can I tell you, Sam? We're both getting older. We've been telling you recently about a number of Tulsa United Way fundraisers. Well, in Waterbury, Connecticut, United Way volunteers were so excited about donations they collected that they devised an elaborate plan to get them to the bank. You could say, though, that it backfired. Imagine the surprise of the Waterbury police when they saw a couple outside the bank with machine guns. Police surrounded the area. There was silence, then smiles. The Bonnie and Clyde lookalikes were all part of the United Way scheme.
We'll be back at 6, but right now we go to Tom Brokaw in New York.
President Reagan says it's time for a fresh start with the Soviet Union, and the Soviet foreign minister raises a new possibility for the Geneva summit.
NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. President Reagan for the United States and Foreign Minister Edward Shevardnadze for the Soviet Union today were like two lawyers making their opening arguments this time before the Court of World Opinion, the General Assembly of the United Nations. President Reagan, with only a brief reference to his controversial Star Wars defense plan, instead concentrated...
NBC News, Paris.
To a generation of American men, the news that Brigitte Bardot has gone out of style is like hearing some kids say, "Who's Mickey Mantle?" That's Nightly News for Thursday. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Thursday on Cheers.
We think that sex before